All right, here we go. This is the substitutes out there today, mostly players you probably haven't seen too much of, and we're taking on Tainan City, who are in 7th place. They have fewer goals scored than any other team in the league. So we should be able to win this even with the substitutes out there, but we'll see what really happens. This is sort of the test for us to see if it really is the tactic that's helping us or just the fact that we have good young foreign players who are coming into their own and continue to improve. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in the end. I do like our chances, though, at winning this match. And let's see if we can pile on the pain a little bit. At the very least, playing this way means that we might be able to get some game time for some of these guys who haven't been able to develop as well as they want to. Some are young, some not so much. Yeah, Jianwei over to Lu Jinxiang, back to Huang Chiwei. You've seen a lot of him. He lumps it forward for Yang Weijie. And there's the pass over to Yao Guochi, who we have seen before. Yao Guochi, I guess. Yao Guochi, I'm not sure which character is supposed to be. Liu Chunjie with it, back to Huang Chiwei. And it's up to Lu Jinxiang and over to Liang Zhenwei. And there is Yao Guochi. I think I was going to call him Yao Guochi again. Yao Guochi with the shot, which is deflected, and it's out for a corner. So we're still piling on the pressure, even though our best players are on the bench. It gives you sort of an idea of just how good this tactic is. I mean, Lu Jinxiang has so much space back there. Liang Zhenwei also has a whole bunch of space on the right side. It's where Menegong usually is. And that's kind of what creates that. And it's just the same idea. You bring it up, you cross it to the middle, and you have these guys who are able to easily get space, who then are able to attack and push it forward. So let's see what happens here. We are a couple of minutes into this match. Still no score. And now this is the big difference, right, where we're not seeing our team come out with that barrage of unstoppable, unending attack right from the start. Yao Guochi actually is having kind of a poor match. So this is probably what we would expect if we didn't have our big boys out there. Yang Weijie now with it over looking for Yao Guochi, who misses the header. Liang Zhenwei now up to Chen Yuting, and that is headed just over the top of the goal, and it bounces off the very top of the net. Now, this isn't the way that you really want to get these players, season game time. It would be better to actually rotate, but it's kind of hard to tell who you want to rotate and when. Wu Jiaoan ends up grabbing that one, and we'll roll it over to Huang Chiwei. We don't exactly have a great rotation schedule put in place, and part of that is because we have certain players who are so much better than everybody else in the league that it would be ridiculous not to start them. Ye Jianwei crosses that over to Yao Guochi, who hits the crossbar, and then it bounces away. So it's an idea, and it kind of worked. Yao Guochi with it back to Liang Zhenwei, over to Lu Jinxiang, back to Huang Chiwei, and is lumped forward, and it's going to be Chen Yuting with it over to Yang Weijie, back to Liu Chuan. And he is fouled in the penalty area. So we saw in the last match a whole bunch of no calls where we were knocked and battered around the penalty box. Here, the player was sort of tapped in the penalty area, and it's a penalty. Huang Chiwei scores it. That's number 5 on the season for him, and it's 1-0 from Mars FC. So even with a team out there that is definitely not our best, and players who are not seasoned and not really used to playing with each other, we have the lead. So we'll go ahead and continue and see what comes next. After this match, we have 2 weeks until we play against April 25th, and that's going to be probably the biggest match of this season, because if we can win that one, that's going to be huge for this club and its future. Lu Jinxiang with the ball, passes down to Liang Zhenwei. He passes back to Lu Jinxiang, and it goes back to Huang Chiwei, and we reset. Back to Lu Jinxiang again. And it moves forward over to Jianwei, and here's Yao Guochi with tons and tons of space, and he's still unable to get a shot off. He's, 30, 31 years old. We brought him on to be sort of like a emergency-type substitute, mostly in the absence of having a young player who can actually sort of play in that position. This all reminds me that we do need to go and start heavily scouting all of the new gens. I have forgotten to do that throughout Taiwan. But that's kind of what we're doing for the time being. We do have young players who can come up, and so Yao Guoqi is probably not going to play with us anymore after the season. He clearly doesn't have it anymore. Chen Yuting with it lumps it forward for Yang Weijie, who scores. That's his first goal of the season, first goal for us, and they're going to call it offside. And that's unfortunate for him. I thought he was onside. No, he's not. He's clearly offside, and it was kind of poor timing. That pass had been kicked just like a second or two earlier. It would have been okay. But that's what happens. You got to learn the timing when you go up and play with the big boys. And the defense doesn't look so good again. The last match against Kanoa, we didn't look so great. Wu Zhaoan ends up grabbing that, and we'll see what we can do. Liang Jianwei passes to Yao Guoqi, who's back to Liang Jianwei and over to Jian Qianwei. Huang Chiwei knocks us forward for Liu Chiyuan, and there's his cross, and Yao Guoqi can't get up there to get it. That's the thing. He'll play one more match for us, and that'll be the end of his time. This ball is lumped forward to really nobody in particular, and it is then hit straight back to our defense. We go back and get it, and it's forward again. Liang Qianwei now right side. And this is over and ends up turning it to nothing. Chen Yuting over to Jian Qianwei. Chen Yuting with a shot that's deflected, I think. No, it's not deflected, and it just goes out for nothing. So a lot of work. We've put a lot of work into it, which is good, but we're not coming up with much. Our final match of the season is going to be against Hangyuan, and that will be in 2 days, at least as far as you're concerned. It's weeks as far as in-game is concerned. And we'll probably end up putting sort of the B team out for that one as well. I am predicting that we'll probably end up losing. We'll see what happens, but that's the team that beat us. Remember, 5-0. Yao Guoqi is behind the defense and has scored. That's his first goal for us this season, and that one will count. So it's 2-0 for Mars FC. And if he can do that against Hangyuan, that'll be great. Tainan, a little bit different. This is a really, really poor team. Tainan, like I said, are in 7th place. They really should be relegation candidates, and I'm not quite sure how far away they are from potentially being relegated. The truth is that the Taipei Skywalkers and Tainan have been decimated in part because we went over and signed away all of their good players and left them with all the junk. Ye Jianwei with that shot that goes right over the head of the goal. That's one of the problems with playing this type of league, by the way, and it's a problem I think that you see a lot in real life as well. This is Jianwei, I think it was, with that shot that ends up missing everything. I'm getting a call I can hear on the other line, and I'm probably going to try to get back to this as soon as this match is done. This is the other frustrating thing where you say you're going to meet with somebody, and they're like, okay, and then they end up over a half hour late, and then they try to get to you, and you're like, dude, I'm in the middle of something else. Ye Jianwei now brings it forward, looking for Chen Yuting, finds him, pass back to Yang Weijie. All right. And Yang Weijie over to Liu Chiyuan. Liu Chiyuan up to Chen Yuting, and there's a shot. Oh, man, he almost scores. Man, oh, man, that was really, really a good shot by him, and that one just hits off the top crossbar. Xu Chuyan, now their keeper, knocks this out over to Jianwei to Jian Jianwei. About 8 minutes here into this recording. I was just taking a quick look at that. We got about 15 minutes left in the match, so it's not quite as filled with action as the Kanoa game was. That was a classic. Lu Jinxiang ends up with the ball over to Liu Chunjie. So what I was saying here is that, in Taiwan, you run out of really good players to find, and Yao Guoqi has scored again. That's going to be number 2 for him. That does count. It's 3-0 for Mars FC. You kind of run out of good players to find, and part of the reason is because just of the nature of the league itself, right? You only have 8 teams here in this league. I guess if we had, something that gave us like the Taiwan lower divisions, we could have a few more players to choose from, I suppose. But what happens in the end is you have a limit on the number of foreigners you can get, and it means that the game starts to become really predictable after a little while because you're probably not going to get rid of your star foreigners. Everybody else is barely good enough to even play, on the same field as you. And you get to the point where you can easily dominate, but then when you play internationally, it becomes difficult because you're not quite good enough to play at that level. And that's kind of what we've come to here. Yeah, Jianwei had so much space. I thought he was going to score that, and he had no business even getting a shot that open across. 3-0 for Mars FC. That's one of the reasons why it can be really, really frustrating sometimes in Football Manager and really boring to play, because after a while you get to the point where no matter what country you're playing in, that you're just dominating, and I would say that it probably has to do with failures of international football. There's one reason why that European Super League idea concept was not awful. It would have been better, of course, if you had teams that were not permanently part of it, as long as teams had to earn the right to be part of it, I think you'd be okay. But the reason why it's a good idea is because the idea of having to constantly work and play at a high level instead of like going in Germany and winning the league every single year is an idea that's a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more fun to watch. Same thing can be said for Scotland and a number of other places where it's the same 1, 2, maybe 3 teams winning year in and year out. And as Lin Xiangwei here, Wu Zhaoan is able to grab that and make the save. So like here for Mars FC, for us, right, I mean, we have such a young team. This team's going to win the league probably for like a decade straight, assuming that we stay here and we'll eventually leave, right? But the question is, can we win a Champions League here? Probably not, because there's just not the talent level in country, right? And they are behind the defense. Fortunately for us, their shots are really, really wild. I can tell you why the Tainan just hasn't been scoring goals. I mean, because they had a number of really good chances here at the end of this match, and it's looked really, really ugly. Liang Jianwei over on the right side brings the ball up alone, up back to Liu Jinxiang, and there's a foul on Zhen Wencheng, I think is his name. And so here's Yang Weijie, who's going to take this free kick. He's going to lump it up and forward, and it's going to be hit back again. And we have lumped it forward one more time. So Yao Guoqi ends up with 2 goals. We end up winning this one 3-0. We have the 2.01 XG to their 0.31. We still dominated possession even with the B team out there, and that shows you how good I think the tactic really is. And you look at that passing map from us, it looks like a thing of beauty. There you have it. Hope you enjoyed this one. I will talk with you once again tomorrow. Bye-bye.